Hi, my name's Lon Wardrop, and I'm really excited about what we're kind of doing. And you're going to even be more excited because this is something that you can do. I love family history. Here's a picture of my grandparents and my parents and all my aunts and uncles. Every person on there has passed away. That was my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. And my dad was 30 at the time, and he's got one of his sisters that's 15 years older. Kind of a great family, but just like your family, there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in a family. You got people that have left the church. You have people that have never been members of the church. You have people that have rotten relationships and haven't spoken to each other for decades, maybe 30, 40, 50 years. Siblings that haven't spoken to each other for whatever reason. And what you're going to find is that miracles can happen. And that's what I'm going to testify to you, is miracles can happen in your families. And when you and I reach to the other side of the veil, these people will come into your life and they will soften hearts. So in this picture is my grandmother right here, and two of her, that's my grandma, and this was in about 1912. And then she has two of her sisters in here as well. And I didn't know most of these pictures, but I sent this picture out. So let me tell you what I've been doing that's kind of fun. So I have cousins that, just like your family, that have crazy lives. Some of them have been in prison. Some of them are out of prison. Some of them died in prison. And some of them are not in the church, and some of them just have gone to the grave, literally not liking each other, and for jealousies or for whatever reason. But this is what you're going to find doing what I'm going to discuss with you just here right now, because I've been doing it with my own family. So I have a list of all my cousins, and I'm one of the younger of my cousins, and I'm 61 years old, and some of my cousins are in their 80s, and some of my cousins are in their late 70s. Most of them are in their 70s and in their 80s. And so I have two groups, my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. This is my dad's side of the family. This is my mom's side of the family. And so I got all my cousins. Well, I didn't have all of them. I had about four of them I didn't have, numbers for. One of my cousins has passed away on my mom's side. All the other ones are still alive. And most of them haven't really been speaking to each other for decades. And so I thought, I'm going to go and use my family. This is my mom with my grandmother and one of my aunts. And this is in Salt Lake City. And this was in about 1948. Okay. So that's my mom, my grandma, and my aunt. And so I started sending pictures out to some cousins. And all of a sudden, one of my cousins that's up in San Francisco lives a completely different lifestyle than I do. He's not a member of the church. Yet, he was so lonely, he started really commenting on it. In fact, this particular picture, he could tell me which ones were my grandmother's sisters. He could tell me all about this picture. He could also go through and start telling me about some of the other pictures that I had no, clue about. In fact, my oldest cousin, Jimmy Hippen, he's about 78. And I said to Jimmy, I go, Jimmy, how did Nana and Pa get their name? And so he was the first, cousin for 3.5 years. He says, for 3.5 years, I was the only one. And then I couldn't say, grandma, and I started saying Nana. And then instead of grandpa, I just called him Pa, and they stuck, Nana and Pa. So my oldest cousin was the one that named him. And so it's kind of cool because now he's telling us all this stuff. And then my other cousins, the older ones, are jumping in and say, I remember this, I remember this. And it's kind of like the coolest thing ever. And people that, again, that haven't spoken to, each other, they were so lonely. I have two cousins, two of my aunts, Uncle Jay and my Aunt Val. They both have one kid that's alive right now. So Mark Miner is a cousin of mine, and Mark is an amazing person. Mark is like, you can pull him up. He was in prison for 17 years, and now he's, used the atonement in his life, and he can connect with all of my less active cousins, and he can break a lot of barriers, which he does. And he's commenting because he's lonely, and this other one's lonely, and everybody, my one cousin has 3 siblings, but they are all kind of like not close. They don't talk. They don't like each other. And all of a sudden, after more than a decade, they start communicating. Okay, they start communicating. Let me show you. I'm going to take this, and here is like one of the texts. Okay, it says, "My one cousin Lori, I am here, Lori Land," and Jimmy goes, "I was there for that picture." Okay, for this picture that was right there. Okay, because he's a lot older. And then I just started sending pictures of my different cousins out there. Now, none of these included my mom and my dad. None of them included any of my siblings. These were all of my cousins that are completely out of the church, less active, but I'm showing cute pictures of them. And it says, this cousin right here, Kim, says, "Seems like yesterday, still have a big sized head, but a little hair left." And so he had really cute hair. And then my sister comments, "Darling photo, Kim." And so now they're all start commenting. Another cousin, this one was the one in prison for 17 years. "Love all of these. This is Mark." Okay. So now they're starting to communicate one with another. And so they have all these pictures in there, and I'm asking, "Who's this picture?" And then all of a sudden I start saying, "Man, I feel like I'm on the History Channel." And some of the younger cousins, well, they're still like in their mid-60s, and they go, "Yeah, this is like the History Channel." And they hadn't commented on any of the other stuff. And then I take little groups of some of my, cousins, and I know they're really into dogs. And the interesting thing is dogs bring people together. You go in a park, you go in a store, dogs seem to kind of break the barriers. And then even better than barriers are little babies. You hold a little baby, and it kind of like people could actually hate each other by holding a little baby. It kind of breaks the ice. The greatest icebreaker of all times is using the other side family history, great-grandparents, grandparents, great-great-grandparents. There might be just a couple pictures of them. And this is my great-grandmother in this picture with some of her siblings, okay? Her name is Mary Ann Shiverill, okay? So some of these people were born in other parts of the world, in Scotland or in, Denmark or whatever. But guess what? They're breaking the barriers. They are softening the hearts of all my cousins. And so it doesn't matter whether you're 95, if this is catching you at 95. You could say, "Hey, does anybody have a picture?" Or you have a picture of some World War II, experience. You could have some picture that no one's ever seen. You could have some document that nobody's ever seen. And if you happen to not have documents or pictures, you just say, "Does anybody have a picture of Mike and Brenda?" Okay, I was just talking to my sister-in-law, and she has no pictures. She's moved all around. She lives in Michigan. And she goes, "Well, I don't have any pictures." And I says, "Well, that's when you get on there. Get all your cousins, your aunts and uncles that are just that side. You don't bring in the in-laws, okay? No in-laws. It's like for the purebloods. And then you have little categories. So I have one with just my siblings. I have one with just my sons. I have one with the extended family. And when people are going through this COVID-19 stuff right now, and everybody's lonely and everybody's kind of inside and they can't go communicating, you're going to watch miracles happen. And you can be the start of a miracle. And the other side will come in, and miracles happen as you pray and consider what to actually share. But the fact is, just go share. Don't worry about what everybody's going to think. And some of them aren't going to even comment. And then you maybe can call them. I've called several of my cousins. Several of my cousins have called me. My 80-year-old cousin calls me, Lonnie, we need to have a family reunion before the next one of us die. Do you know who's going down the hill and who's sick and everything else? You can do this. This is fun. Actually, you're going to love it. We love you. The Savior loves you. The Savior's going to be part of this amazing missionary work for you. Oh no, it's healing families. Thank you.